All right, let's just get right into it. When you really start to look past all the noise and you focus on the official testimony that's coming out, a pretty unsettling pattern starts to take shape. And it all points to one thing. One thing that unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs, seem to be incredibly interested in. And frankly, it's the one thing that should probably worry all of us.
So what is it? I mean, with an entire planet to check out, what single place keeps drawing their attention again and again? Is it our cities, our natural wonders? Nope. The answer is much more specific and honestly, a lot more frightening.
That's right. For decades, the most credible, the most verified UAP sightings have had one chillingly consistent target: our intercontinental ballistic missile sites, the absolute deadliest weapons humanity has ever conceived of.
And look, this isn't something that just started happening. This has been going on for over half a century. It's a pattern that cuts across continents, across old Cold War rivalries. And it makes you wonder, why would an intelligence with technology light years ahead of ours be so obsessed with these underground bunkers in the middle of nowhere?
And this is where you see this huge gap between the official story and what the people who were actually there have to say. You know, the official line often writes these things off as weather balloons or just some kind of equipment glitch. But when you dig into the declassified files and listen to military witnesses, you get a completely different story, a story that sounds a lot more deliberate.
To really get a handle on how serious this is, we've got to look at one of the most famous, most well-documented cases out there, the Malmstrom incident. It's just a perfect example of what looks like direct intervention. So picture this, it's 1967. We're at the absolute height of the Cold War, and we're at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana, which is home to a whole squadron of America's nuclear missiles. Suddenly, the security guys on base, and we're talking trained military observers here, they start reporting a strange object. It's a glowing red orb, just hanging silently in the sky, right over this incredibly sensitive missile facility. But it wasn't just watching.
In that very moment, 10 separate Minuteman ICBMs, every single one armed with a nuclear warhead, just went dead. They went completely offline, unresponsive. 10 of the most powerful weapons on the entire planet just neutralized.
And that's when it got even weirder. The engineers scrambled, they tried to figure out what went wrong, but they found nothing. No system errors, no blown circuits, not a single hardware failure that could explain it. As one of the officers there said, the missiles, they simply turned off.
And get this wasn't just an American thing. Declassified files from the old KGB in the Soviet Union showed disturbingly similar reports. UAPs showing up over their nuclear sites and their weapons suddenly going inert. The story from both sides of the Iron Curtain is exactly the same. These things weren't just sightseeing, they were interacting with our most dangerous toys.
So this pattern really forces us to change how we think about this whole thing. We have to move past just thinking of them as sightings and start realizing they might be something else entirely.
Because the evidence, it really suggests this isn't just a non-human intelligence that's curious about us. It's intervening. It's deliberately interfering with our most critical military operations, and it's showing a level of control that is, let's be honest, total.
If there's a message being sent here, across all these decades and all these incidents, this is probably it. It's not, "Take me to your leader." The message, delivered with overwhelming technological force, seems to be a very clear, very direct demonstration of power.
You see, this stops being just a UFO story, and it becomes a profound geopolitical reality. The evidence points to an outside force that has, time and time again, shown it can neutralize our ultimate weapon. It's like a cosmic finger-wagging at all of us, a demonstration that should make every leader on this planet stop and think.
Which brings us to a major critique of how we're handling all this right now. You know, these recent hearings have finally brought the subject out into the light, but are we asking the right questions? Are we so distracted by the what that we're completely ignoring the why?
The public conversation right now is all about crashed crafts and analyzing exotic metals, and that's interesting, for sure. But the real story here might not be in a piece of wreckage. The real question is about the meaning behind this repeated intervention at our nuclear sites. We need to stop focusing on what we found and start asking why they are here and why they care so much about our ability to destroy ourselves.
When you put all these pieces on the table, it's hard to avoid one pretty staggering conclusion. It seems like the very technology that defined our last century, and still threatens this one, is some kind of red line for an intelligence that isn't from around here.
And that leaves us with the biggest questions of all, doesn't it? What's the intent here? Is this some kind of benevolent planetary security system, a guardian angel with a kill switch? Or is it a hostile warning shot across the bow? Or maybe, are we just part of some cosmic science experiment with an observer just testing the species that finally figured out how to blow up its own planet? The one thing that seems certain is that we're not the only ones worried about our nuclear weapons.